bridge between us and the commission. He was a man who was down to earth and believed in those who were even below him. So because of time, it is my singular pleasure to welcome the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice to address and make her remarks. Thank you.
Fellow mourners, on 9th of this month in the evening, I was called by my PA to tell me that Judge Majanja had called to have me be informed that he was going to go into hospital the following morning, but that I should not worry, and he didn't want to talk to me. So I asked why he didn't want to talk to me, and I was told his speech was completely blurred, and he didn't want me to worry. But by saying that, he really made me worry. And so I waited that night. Thankfully, we had somebody at the hospital whom we kept calling to find out how he was doing. But Judge Majanja said that the following morning, would I go to see him in the hospital. The operation was scheduled for 9 according to the information, and later 10. I don't know when it finally happened. Now 10th was a difficult day for me because I kept asking, has he been seen? And the hospital would not give us information. Finally, they gave us the ward to which, the room in the ward to which he would be taken after the treatment. So at 3, I had completely panicked, and I insisted that my PA calls the hospital, and when we called, we were told, just hold on. We are now headed to the ICU or something like that, and now I properly panicked. Judge Majanja and I had 3 great years at the Judicial Service Commission, 3 very great years during an extremely difficult time when he, myself, and a few others were trying to fight to defend the independence of the judiciary. Judge Majanja was my friend from 2011. Judge Majanja and I had very many meals together, which, of course, I bought because I was the senior. That's a practice in the legal profession, not because he was broke, because he was never broke. And the last one we had was in May during his campaigns. In April or May, I forget which, he found me before the ELC judges in Naivasha. We had a retreat, and that's the day I noticed that his hand was shaking. So when we walked out, I asked him, Judge, are you so scared of this election? You already won one before, why would you be worried now? Then he said, DCJ, don't worry. That's all he said, and I wish he had told me then, because although I'm not a doctor, or maybe I should even take that back, because when time comes, it comes. I don't know who can stop God. When finally I got the message that we had lost Judge, I was totally crushed. Because unlike most of us who are hypocrites, he was not. He was a nice guy, very nice guy. Treated all of us with due respect, consulted all of us. And me in particular, he would call and tell me, get out of chambers. We rarely met in the building for obvious reasons. And we went to our lunch place, and he would say, oh, this is happening, why don't we do it this way, or what do you think, and whatever. We are all dying. We are dying. I don't know when I will go, but when I go, I hope there'll be somebody to say, despite everything that is negative about me, I cared about humanity judge cared about humanity. A shame on death, because Resurrection Day is coming. Rest well, my brother. CJ.
Was a prominent member of the Mercedes bench. He was a Movu. He was a magisterial. Marge was magical, and he was barely 40. The Mercedes bench of the two divisions were the gifts that kept giving. Fellow Kenyans and friends, it is because of Justice Majanja and other judges' refusal to pursue a policy of judicial appeasement towards the executive and the legislature that injected vital nascent doses of oxygen to the Constitution 2010. Through March and other judges of that era, the birth of the Constitution survived life-threatening congenital defects. The progressive content in the Constitution 2010 did not suffer infant mortality or under 5 mortality that is so prevalent in Africa because of the judicial courage of Justice Majanja and other members of the Mercedes bench. Justice Joel Ngugi was a backseat driver of that bench. And when I look, I conclude, and when I look at the careers of the Mercedes bench, because I study the judiciary quite a bit, it is safe to say that eschewing judicial appeasement pays, however temporary, its immediate discomforts. Lenaola, judge, leapfrogged from the High Court into the Court of Appeal. Supreme Court, I wanted you to hear properly, so the mistake, the Freudian slip was deliberate. Justice Ngugi, Justice Odunga, Justice Wasame, Justice Ngugi here were all elevated to the Court of Appeal after fairly short stints at the High Court. Justice Majanja was first elected unopposed to the JAC, and only recently, as Judge Manga said, re-elected with a landslide for a second term to serve in the JAC, the first High Court judge to be so elected to serve for 2 terms. Judicial courage is what this country needs, not judicial appeasement. And it pays at a professional, personal level, it pays constitutionally, and it helps our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, because of his humility, Marge's brilliance was not performative, it was surgical. His mien was not assertive, but it was indelible in its wake. Vehemence was not his style, but sturdiness was his manner. His intelligence was effortless, careening through the labyrinth of law with dissembling ease. My friend, my brother, we are in pain. We stitch the pain of your demise by celebrating your huge footprints in the sands of history. We salve the wounds of your sudden departure by honoring the edifying, timeless legacy of a progressive, formidable jurist. I bid farewell to a bosom friend, a brother with whom we were looking forward to your home housewarming party later this year. David Amilcar Shikomera Majanja. Fare thee well, my brother. You go now. We remain, we shall come. One day, someday, any day.
Thank you, Commissioner Duncan. I have to say that is the longest speech I've ever seen Duncan giving, and it was really heartfelt. It felt very difficult to stop him from giving that speech. He needed to give it. So thank you, Commissioner Okello. I did not give him more time because he and I are alleged to belong to a certain council. I only gave him more time because he needed to make that speech. Please allow me to breach protocol at the request of the head of public service because he needs to be in a meeting in the next few minutes and is requested to address us now. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Felix Koskei.
Thank you, Judge. The larger family of Majanja, the entire judiciary led by Chief Justice, Judicial Service Commission, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Director of Public Prosecution, Member of Parliament, Majanja's Member of Parliament, distinguished monarchs, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mine will be very, very short. This guy who is lying here was my friend, and a true friend, a genuine friend, a man of his word, a man of integrity, and a man who means what he says. I got the news, the sad, the worst news, when he passed on from Justice Warsami and Madam CRJ here. It was devastating. I just took off from the office straight home because I could not manage to really digest even the news. We worked with Majanja for 3.5 years in Judicial Service Commission, as a commissioner. He found me there when I was 6 months old. And he came in with energy, came in with comradeship, came in somebody with open arms. He taught us a lot. He guided us in the issues of law. And we worked together. We worked very well. And he was always a man who was bringing all of us together whenever there are issues that we have divergent minds. We worked with Majanja in several committees. One that stood out was audit and governance, where my brother Majanja was a member, Majanja and myself. And we did justice to bring governance to judiciary. He was firm. Sometimes he was telling us, oh, now as we are disciplining these people, I don't know whether I'm putting my job on the line because his position was elective. But he continued putting his foot down and says things must be done right. So I don't want to repeat what other people have said. Majanja, whenever we travel abroad, he has known that I'm a poor shopper. I don't shop a lot. So he was always shopping 2-3 suitcases. And he knew for sure Felix will own one suitcase whenever we go. And he's a guy who kept in touch all through. In fact, he sent me a message, I think 2 days or 3 days before his demise. We met last fiscally on 8th of June, where we had the whole hour of discussions on what we need to do and the advices that he was extending to us on how to manage the situations that we were in. Majanja, we have lost him. But I'm sure whatever contribution he gave to this country, it will be very difficult for anybody to match. He was a true citizen of this country, true patriot, and a Kenyan to beat. Thank you, and Paul and his son.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Koskei. Next, we have a segment where we have members of the Law Society of Kenya who will give their tributes. May I, with much humility, call Mr. Renson Ingonga, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and as he comes, the next to speak is going to be my teacher, Professor Githu Wigai. I have not seen him here. Oh, he is present. And then at the tail end of this segment, we will have the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo. So if you could begin with Mr. Ingonga. Karibu.